Hey guys, Tel17 here. Today the second DLC for Wargame Red Dragon came out, and with it we have gotten 12 new units. Now these are not as many units as we got in the first DLC, but we did get the second Korean campaign in this DLC, which is great. Now in this video we're just going to have a look at the new units. And right here I have the first one. This is the Kyo-Roku WAPC. It's an APC which comes with a grenade launcher. And it has 2 frontal armor, it has very good off-road speed of 100 kph, on-road 150, decent autonomy of 500, and I think I like this vehicle. I haven't actually used it in battle yet since the DLC just came out, but it seems to be a Japanese lighter counterpart to the marine vehicles which the Americans use, and grenade launchers can always come in handy when you're fighting infantry. Now they carry 320 rounds, they fire 137 rounds a minute if they're firing full auto, which doesn't always happen, so the chance of you having to resupply these units is very low. I'm definitely going to try out this unit in my new deck because I think it looks awesome, the specs seem to be very good, and I always like a grenade launcher to support my infantry. The next unit we have is the M113 Milan. This is basically an APC, the standard one we use, but this one carries a Milan. Now I'm not too sure whether these can be used with infantry or just as a basic vehicle. But either way, they're pretty decent for 25 points. You get the standing Browning machine gun, you get a Milan F1, 12 missiles as supply, 35% accuracy. I do like my ATGMs with a little more accuracy than 35%, but with 17 AP power for 25 points it's not too bad, so I might want to use these in my Commonwealth decks. Next up we have the JH7. Here it is. This is a new plane. We already had these in the JA7 Fibaos. These are the seat versions and the anti-ship. Now they've added the standard version. These have a very good autocannon. You can use this to suppress vehicles, take them out with their 1HE value, or go after planes like they were designed to do. They have a anti-air missile which resembles the standard short-range anti-air missile, 50% accuracy. But this is of course what you're going for. This is the anti-ground missile. 50% accuracy, 3 km range, TV guidance, which means high accuracy. Stabilizers of course also 50%, and 26 AP power will make sure that you can use these a lot. You can use them against heavy tanks, use them as tank snipers, and use the missiles to go after aircraft. Now these have very good stats all around. Very good air detection, 40% ECM, which makes them very survivable. 900 kph, which means they can be brought in pretty quickly to deal with any heavy tanks. And they have a time over target of 75 seconds, which is okay. Means you can keep them out a little bit over the battlefield, but usually you call these in when you have something in your sights and you want it dead. The next unit is the M113 SPAAG. This one. It's a new North Korean unit. It's an anti-air weapon, mainly used against helicopters and aircraft, although it can be used in limited use on the ground where it has a 1 km range. 1000 rounds, it fires 1300 rounds a minute at full auto. So against 2 or 3 helicopters, maybe 4, you do want to resupply these things. They have some armor, frontal and side, so don't expect these things to live too long when they're facing tanks. And they might be able to take some artillery fire or some bombs, although I wouldn't go much higher than 500 kilograms against these. Seems to be a good addition to the North Korean units, because they weren't very good in the anti-air division anyway, so let's see what they had. Roll, air defense guns. They did of course have the Igla, these are decent. They had the Shilka, and now they have a more expensive solution, and if we compare these you can see that this is really quite the upgrade. These have more range against helicopters, more range against aircraft, and better accuracy. Keep in mind though that these things are radar guided, which means that seed planes will get you if you keep these lanes turned on. Next on the list is the Spetsnaz group. Switch this back to all. And of course we're not looking for air defenses, we're looking for Spetsnaz. Let's see, these guys are new. Now, this Eastern Bloc, in the sense of the Soviets, already had quite a bit of Spetsnaz available. They had the standard Spetsnaz. You could use these in town with their napalm launchers. You could use the Spetsnaz VMF, which is the recon squad. And it seems that these things have gotten a new gun, although I'm not entirely sure. And now you also have this group of Spetsnaz, Spetsnaz GRU. Now these can be very effective behind enemy lines, more so than the standard Spetsnaz or the Spetsnaz VMF, because they have a bit of best of both worlds. Very good optics, very good stealth, very small of course since they're infantry, and they carry a good light anti-tank weapon, 20 AP power, 55% accuracy, 8 rounds, which means that they can take out even heavier tanks should they encounter them, and they come with a sniper rifle. Now, people have already made the case that you can use these in tandem with the standard Spetsnaz. The standard Spetsnaz will go through a town on the front line using their napalm launcher. These things will come a bit further behind, take out vehicles, take out infantry in the open with their sniper, and just give general support with their AK-74U. Now, as with all the Spetsnaz, you have quite a bit of variety of transports for these units. We have the BTRs, and they come with the Mi-24A or the Mi-24D. Now, I expect availability to be low. They seem to be meant as a counterpart to the SEALs, although more in availability than in use, since the SEALs carry a grenade launcher with absolutely no AP value, and these things can be actively used to take out heavily armored vehicles. Looks like I'm going to be using these. I want to definitely give them a try, and I'm probably going to bring them in a 24A or 24D, drop them off somewhere near or behind the enemy lines, and combine them with standard Spetsnaz or other commando units from the Russians. Next we have the K9 Thunder, South Korean artillery unit. This is a howitzer. Looks like a very nice machine. Almost 30 kilometer range, 3640 meters dispersion, which is very good for a howitzer. 4 rate of fire, as in 4 rounds per minute, some armor, and it really seems to nicely top off the South Korean deck. Let's have a look at what they used to have. Artillery howitzers. They had the K55. These are standard howitzers. 21,000 meter range, 6.3 kilometer dispersion. Of course, you could go for these snipers, but they only carry 2 rounds, and they're also very logistic expensive. They'll go through a lot of supplies. Now it seems that you have these as a middle solution. They are of course a prototype unit, so you'll never get a lot of them. But it does mean that they have quite a bit of sniping ability in a platform that seems pretty mobile, 110 on-road, 65 off-road, and which carries a lot of shells. These things have 105 shells, so the chances of you having to resupply these things are very low. Seems like a very low consuming resource unit, so I might want to give these guys a shot, although I rarely play South Korea. Now, the next unit on our list is the Wolverine. Let's say the Wolverine. This is a Canadian anti-air unit. It's a bit of a weird unit if you ask me. I mean, this thing has 12 javelins, which aren't very good missiles to begin with. I prefer the Stingers or the Mistrals. But they have 2450 meter range against helicopters. They have some accuracy against them, 45. They're very mobile, of course, since they're using the LAV platform, which means that they can go 100 kph off-road, 150 on-road, and by the looks of this unit, you can use these at the edge of forests. You can use them as a QRF against helicopters. Wouldn't use them against planes so much. But against helicopters at 35 points, they seem decent. Let's compare these to what the Canadians normally have in the sense of AA. Support vehicles. They have the Centurion Marksman. Of course they have the ADATs, which is pretty good, both of these. But they're expensive. This one's 50 and this one's 90 points. And now they have a cheaper solution in the form of this Wolverine. So, if you want to play Canadian or Commonwealth, you might want to give these guys a shot. Next up, another new unit that we got is the VPM 120. This is a French Mortar Carrier. Actually, I'm not really sure why they put this in the game. This is just a standard French transport unit. Instead of transporting infantry, it now transports a mortar. Very good HE power, very good rounds per minute, although for a mortar it is somewhat lacking. Carries 54 rounds, so make sure that these things can be supplied, because I think these will give you 4 or 5 salvos, depending on how many rounds you're going to fire, before they need resupplying. Now the reason why I said I'm not sure why they put these in the game is because the Euro-core, which is what most people play, already got quite a good assortment of Howitzers. Here's the VPM, and let's compare this to the German solution, which is, let's see, where is it? Here, the Panzer MRS 113. These stats are basically the same. Same 120mm rounds. These have a bit more availability. Same range. Little less dispersion, these are even more accurate. Same HE power, same rounds per minute, and these things carry more ammo, are cheaper. So I don't really see right now why they put this thing in the game. I don't see what it adds. If you would look purely at the French deck, this would probably change. Because if you're playing mainly French, you can use the Caesar for virtually anything. You can use the Servals, but these things have a short range. They have a very low HE power with their 60mm rounds. So in that case, this thing would be a nice addition. And of course, since the developers are French, that might also help. Now, this is a unit which was already heavily discussed on especially Reddit, and people are not looking forward to seeing this thing in a fight. This is a new American anti-air unit. This is the Patriot. The Patriot has a range unlike anything I've ever seen. It has 5.6 clicks range. This outranges any seaplane. They are radar guided. They're guided weapons, which means that they have to aim at them until the point of impact. So you have to park these things where they can still see the target until the missile lands, which make them a little less effective. They're not fire and forget weapons. But still, 9 HE power, 70% accuracy at 5.5 kilometers. The only way you're going to counter these is by using artillery, because there is no seaplane, to my knowledge, especially not from the Soviet side, Red 4, which can counter these. Let's have a look at the aircraft that the Soviet have as a seed solution. We have the 5 bows, range 5.2 clicks, 5.2, 4.9, 4.2, 5.5. All of these jets cannot get this the Patriot without getting in range of it. Now I expect the Patriot to eat supplies like crazy, so that is something of a balancing factor. I want to try these things out, and I think that especially in multiplayer battles, say 10v10, these things can really be a pain. Just make sure that if you're using them, you move them after every shot, because they got absolutely no armor. It's just a truck with a missile launcher on top of it. But look at the size of those missiles. The next unit on the list is the FV510 Warrior. Now, these come with Fusiliers, and the Fusiliers have the standard Warrior 90, or sorry, the standard Warrior, the Warrior 90 with a bit more armor, and now the Warrior Milan, which is a more expensive solution. Let's have a look at just this unit. These come with 4 Milan F2 missiles, 40% accuracy, 24 AP power, 2400 meter range. They have a lot of armor, I gotta give them that. If you compare them to the standard warrior, actually these seems to have been buffed. They had 4 frontal armor, now they have 6. This makes the warrior a lot more valuable. And if you add a launcher such as this, it makes it even more valuable. This thing can probably take out 1 or 2 tanks with its 40% accuracy. I don't expect all missiles to hit, especially when you're fighting in an urban area where tanks can take quick cover behind buildings and you usually lose the line of sight. Still, it's a nice addition, and at only 5 points more expensive than the standard warrior, I think it's a nice addition. I would go for these things, provided that it won't limit my availability on the Fusiliers too much. Almost through this list, we got the H5. Sorry, the J... Hang on, which craft was this again? I think it was the H5. It was an aircraft anyway. A Russian or a Red 4 aircraft, moreover. Let's see, the H5. This thing looks like it originated in World War II, if you ask me. It has a tail gunner turret. Now, what the hell is this? This thing seems to fire from the aft at aircraft. So these have something of a defensive capability, that is against aircraft, because against missiles they are absolutely hopeless. They have 0% ECM. They're quite expensive at 150 points, but they have a strength of 15, which is a lot more than most bombers. It's a typical ground attack aircraft, and it comes with one 3,000 kilogram bomb. Now I don't see what you cannot blow up with this bomb. Maybe the heaviest of tanks, but anything else is just going to melt when these things show up. Let's compare these to a couple of other ground attack aircraft. Let's say something which is in the range, the IL-102. These are a bit more expensive, but this is where you can really see the difference. Strength 10, strength 15. This thing can take almost 2 anti-air missiles. Not the 9 HE missiles, but the big missiles it can take. So these things are gonna be almost indestructible, and I'm going to try these out soon to make sure I have some good gameplay to show you. I'm wondering what kind of role I can put these in, and I think they are going to be put in a general role. They can do it all basically with a 3,000 kilogram bomb. 3,500 meter range, 25% accuracy. Well, you don't need to hit it if you have a bomb which is that heavy. 30 AP power, 600 suppression value, and I'm wondering how much time it will take for these things to be rearmed. Also keep in mind they're not the fastest, 750, so you want to escort these things with another aircraft, because if you don't, then you're going to be in trouble, even if they have a tail gunner. Now, the last unit which is on the list is the Marder 2. We already had the Marder 1. Let's have a look at those Marders. We had the Marder 1A3 as the latest vehicle. It was the most advanced Marder you could get. Now, let's compare this to the Marder 2. As you can see, the Marder 2 looks different. This is the Marder 1. This is the Marder 2. It has a lower profile and a completely different gun. The Marder 1A3 is mainly a suppression vehicle which you can use against infantry with their autocannon, 2 AP power, and they have some F2 Milans. These have 4 frontal armor. Look at this thing. 10 frontal armor. I've seen tanks which are less heavily armored than this Marder. They come with a 70% accuracy gun. They have 6 AP power, 1 HE value, 200 rounds a minute. So this thing is going to eat other vehicles for breakfast. Prototype unit, of course, which means that the availability is definitely going to be low, but I don't see how you can use too many of these. I don't think you need them. Now, these things remind me actually of the KAV vehicle. Let's compare them to those. Those are the Japanese units. Let's see, Japanese vehicles. Are they South Korean? No, I think they're Japanese. Here. They remind me a bit of these. The Kyu-Shikis. These have pretty much the same gun, although less accurate. They have a lot less AP power, a high rate of fire, but the armor is a lot less. Let's see, maybe it was not, no, it wasn't Japan, it was Sweden or Norway, I think. So many units. Let's say, here, STRVs. These seem a lot more like the gun we're seeing on the right side. High accuracy, high stabilizer. Decent AP power, although this thing has half the AP power of the Marder 2. Same HE value, higher rate of fire, but a lot less armor. Now, I do like my armored decks. These Marder 2s come in an armored deck. Let me just pull up another shot of the unit. Vehicles Marder 2. These things come in an armored and a mechanized deck, so I think these are going to be the new pride of the Germans. Just imagine having a couple of Marder 2s combined with a couple of Marder 1s for anti-infantry with a, say, Leopard 2A4, 2A5. You have a very destructive force there. And these things can even fire at helicopters 1575 meters away, which is outside most gun ranges from the helicopters themselves. 70% accuracy against the helicopter, 1 HE value and 6 AP, so even helicopters are going to go down very, very quickly. So that's it. That is the list of units we got in this DLC. There's quite a bit of changes to other units. As you already saw, I just stumbled across a change in the warriors, which got more armor. But I'm sure there are tons of other changes. Now it's going to be learning the game all over again. Although not entirely from the beginning, just finding a place for these new units in your decks. I'm going to try to incorporate them as soon as possible, and when I do, I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to upload a new a new video with these new vehicles. If you like this new video, let me know. Please hit like, and I'm looking forward to your comments below to let me know what do you think of these new vehicles. Are they overpowered? Is the Patriot overpowered? Is any of the other units, or are there any other units you would like to have in the game? What do you think of the DLC? I look forward to reading your comments below, so let's hear something from you. And if you want to see more of my videos, you can subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and have fun playing Red Dragon.